That's what.
From the past. Hopefully I don't lose that. Yes. No, we always run into the pain in jail somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. All right, Kelly. Hmm. Oh. And which one? What was it?
Nicholson.
And Conway
Yeah,
or Conmy?
Connie.
Conway.
Ariana.
Actually, I can just pull it from my stack. Okay, we ready to go?
Yes.
All right, good morning. So the first person we're gonna see this morning is, looks like Clifton Despain.
Yes, Your Honor, and we're going to be waiving his appearance today. I am prepared to proceed.
Okay, how about the state?
Yes, Your Honor. With this case, we are asking for $3,000 bail, pretrial supervision and testing. The defendant has lengthy criminal history is probably evidenced by his MPRA score of 17. Most recently, in 2025, he was convicted of possession of drug paraphernalia and intoxicated pedestrian on the roadway. Had a citation for trespassing in a municipal court where he failed to appear at arraignment. Had another citation in Reno Municipal Court for trespass. Sorry, 3 more trespass citations in Reno Municipal Court. 2024, he had a misdemeanor conviction for battery and trespass in Reno Justice Court. 2024, again, had a number of the same types of things: trespass Reno Municipal Court, trespass Reno Justice Court, trespass Reno Municipal Court, where he failed to appear, conviction for O and R, misdemeanor conviction for trespass Reno Municipal Court, misdemeanor conviction for trespass Reno Municipal Court. Again, criminal history fairly consistent through the last several years. And so given that, his numerous failures to appear, numerous similar type cases, we were asking for bail and supervision and testing. Thank you.
Okay, just to remind everyone, I go through all these files first thing in the morning, so I've gone through all the PC sheets as well as court services notes and the risk assessment. All right, so I really don't need a summary of the PC sheet since I've already read it. All right, do we have a response?
So, Your Honor, Mr. Despeni has actually chosen to submit today.
Okay. All right, I will set his bail at 3,000 because he does have a risk assessment of 17. I do have a few more conditions, though. He'll be subject to testing as requested by the DA. Given his criminal history, he's gonna have shall not possess firearms or weapons. And again, he'll be subject to pretrial services supervision. All right. All right, the next individual is gonna be Perry Conme, followed by Douglas Crosby.
Your Honor, Mr. Conme refused to speak to us today. Could we just continue this one day?
All right, so we will trail Perry until Monday. All right, is Mr. Crosby present?
Is he present? Did he waive?
Waived.
Mr. Crosby waived, but I am prepared to proceed.
Okay, so it looks we have 2 for Mr. Crosby. All right, is the state ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. So, Your Honor, on the, I guess, kind of the underlying case, the battery by a prisoner, battery on protected person, we're asking for $20,000, bondable only bail, pretrial supervision, testing for alcohol and controlled substances, and no weapons. On the other case, we are asking for $5,000 on the battery by a prisoner case involving the inmate for a total of $25,000 bondable only bail. Defendant has lengthy criminal history going back to the early 90s. More recently, he had a misdemeanor conviction for battery in Reno Justice Court in 2025, had a couple failure to appear arrests as well. Had a gross misdemeanor conviction for battery on a protected person in 2024 in the second JD. He had a felony federal probation violation as well in 2024. In 2022, he had a felony conviction for bank robbery. 2018, a felony conviction for robbery. Again, more felony convictions going back through his history and some failures to appear. But I think given his recent conduct and his performance recently with failures to appear in the last year, as well as prior convictions for battery on protected person, the defendant is a risk to continue this conduct. He's a risk to the community, risk not to appear, and therefore bail and those conditions are appropriate. Thank you.
Then are you requesting testing, did you say?
Yes, Your Honor. And if the court like the basis, it's the probable cause sheet indications.
Right. All right, do we have a response?
Yes, Your Honor, I would be asking for an OR release on both cases. Starting with the first charge, the battery on protected person and the intoxicated person on roadway. With that case, it appears that he was intoxicated at the time, and that's what caused him to act out. I believe that giving him an OR release with the condition of testing would be sufficient to ensure safety to the community. Regarding the battery by prisoner case, I understand Your Honor has read the probable cause sheet, but the way it was the way I interpret it was almost as if he was not the initial aggressor. It almost seemed like the other person was the individual who had approached him and was making a fighting stance with him, and then my client had allegedly made that first individual impact. So on that, I honestly think he should get an OR release just because I do think that is a case that has a good self-defense assertion, and looking at the possibility of conviction, that's something that should weigh heavily on the analysis. And he also will be in custody on the other case. So given all that, Your Honor, I am asking for an OR release on both cases, and I will submit.
Okay, you said, maybe I misunderstood. You said trespassing on a roadway?
Intoxicated person on roadway.
Okay. Okay. So, there was a little bit more than that to that case. I mean, he was obviously at the Atlantis Casino following individuals. Based on his intoxication, the officers took him into custody because they were concerned that he would step into the roadway. Nevertheless, his bail is going to be set at 20,000. I'm going to put no contact with the Atlantis Casino. He'll be subject to random testing, shall not possess firearms or weapons, pretrial services supervision. On the other case, I am going to go ahead and OR him on that case. All right. Same conditions. Given the circumstances, the video did indicate that the other party got into a fighting stance. So nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and OR him on that one. He's obviously going to be in custody on the other case. All right. Next is Cesar Diaz. All right, stay ready to proceed on Mr. Diaz.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
Yes, Your Honor. So in this case, the state is asking for $7,500 bail. The defendant has lengthy criminal history going back to 2002. He most recently had a 2022 felony conviction for assault with a deadly weapon and child abuse. He received 14 to 60 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections on that case. Also, he had a misdemeanor conviction for trespass and, three convictions for trespass in Reno Justice Court in that year. Destruction of property in Sparks Justice Court conviction. 21, he had a misdemeanor conviction for battery in this court. 2020, a misdemeanor conviction for trespass in Sparks Justice Court. 2019 had conviction for destruction of property, conviction for obstructing and failed to register, conviction for possession of drug paraphernalia. Also going back a little bit further, he had a felony conviction for attempted theft in 2018. He did drug court. Looking back through that, it looks like he had a number of issues, had multiple different substance abuse placements. It looks like they tried to place him after he unsuccessfully or walked away from a number of programs, and ultimately he had his um, uh, probation revoked and then his parole revoked, and he expired. Had in the inner part of that, again, similar trespassing type convictions, and then going back all the way to 2005, that was where I show his first felony conviction for being under the influence. Again, similar treatment story. He ultimately had his diversion rescinded and his probation revoked. So this is an individual who uh, has had lengthy issues with substance abuse, um, lengthy issues for this type of offense as far as the trespassing and unlawful occupancy. Therefore, in addition to the 7,500, we're asking for pretrial supervision as well as testing for alcohol and controlled substances. It's apparent that he was having issues that day. Unclear if it was some sort of meth-induced psychosis or something similar. But I think given that lengthy criminal history with treatment, et cetera, that would be an appropriate condition. And no weapons, given the fact that he is a multi-time convicted felon.
Right.
Thank you.
No, I understand. I have the same conditions. Do we have a response?
Yes, Your Honor, I would be asking for an OR release today. Looking at this case, this is a crime of poverty. Seeing the fact that he was found inside of an apartment. And also, when you look at the facts of the case, yes, there's some severe mental health issues that are at work here. He has been in the area for 25 years, showing that he does have substantial ties to the community. Unfortunately, he is unemployed and he is on government assistance, further showing that he's not able to make any bail that this court would enforce on him. I believe a no contact order, as well as no drugs and alcohol, as well as no weapons, is enough to ensure safety to the community. If this court is not inclined to give him an OR release, I would ask for an OR release to direct transport to treatment. I do think that would be appropriate in this case as well, and I will submit on that.
Well, he hasn't been successful in diversion programs. I don't know how that would help. But I'm gonna set his bail at $5,000, no contact with 2000 Silverado. Let's just say unit 312. He'll be subject to testing, shall not possess firearms or weapons, subject to pretrial services supervision. All right, there's not gonna be OR given his risk assessment score. All right, next is gonna be Michael Evans. And then Jasmine's gonna go last, right?
Yes.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. All right, are we ready to proceed with Mr. Evans?
Yes, Your Honor. So the state is asking for $10,000 bail, pretrial supervision, testing for alcohol and controlled substances, and no contact with the Safeway, any Safeway in Washoe County. The defendant is just barely 18 when this occurred. I would note that it appears that he has a JPO hold. I can't see in our system that's divided off, so I'm unclear what exactly is underlying that. However, I think it's noteworthy that the defendant committed this crime while, according to the report, he had a ankle monitor on that was tracking him. So I think that gives the court some indication about whether or not he would actually comply with any conditions that the court were to set if he's out committing crimes when he's got an ankle bracelet that's tracking his movement that puts him at the scene of the crime. So in that regard, the defendant is absolutely a risk to the community, a risk to continue this type of conduct, a risk not to comply with court orders and therefore not appear in the future. And so we are asking the court to set bail and conditions. Thank you.
Do we have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. I would be asking for an OR release or to have a bail as nominal as possible. Um, when you look at this case, I think this is a case of somebody doing something without thinking when they're very, very young. It's not a crime of violence. I mean, I understand this, Your Honor has read the PC sheet, but when you see that they took some alcohol and ran off, that's a crime of immaturity. It's not a crime of violence. He's not a threat to the community whatsoever. We also have spoken to his mother, who has informed us that she will keep an eye on him. He can stay, that she will make sure that he stays away from drugs and alcohol. He is still a student. He goes to Reed High School. I think that what's important is for him to continue his education so that he's an individual who has a good launching pad to adulthood. He is barely 18. I think keeping him here instead of allowing him to continue school would be a detriment to him and eventually a detriment to society because he's not going to have the educational requirements that's needed to really get a decent job when he graduates. He is on juvenile probation right now, so he does have access to other resources as well. He does work with an attorney at our office, Stephanie Cook, who's amazing at making sure they get the resources that they need. So he does have support. I do think that this is one mistake if he that can be he can make retribution for eventually. With all that, Your Honor, I do think he should get an OR with him with any conditions this court feels are necessary, and I'll submit on that.
I intend to agree with you, but I believe some bail is appropriate in this case. I'm gonna set his bail at 2,500 or 10% cash, no contact with all Safeways. And these other individuals, which are, since they're minors, I'm just gonna do initials JZ, CN, AB, J, and JB. He will be subject to residential confinement unless he already has a GPS monitor with juvenile probation. He'll be subject to testing. Were you able to verify the information because court services were not able to verify the address? Is his mother's address 350 Harbor Grove,
Yes,
apartment 356?
yes,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
so he must,
Yes,
so
and
he
he's been there
must,
for 2 years.
I'm sorry,
He's been there for 2 years at that same address.
understood. So he must reside with his mother at that address and he'd be subject to pretrial supervision. All right, let me just finish my GRO here. All right, so if you have questions on this one, let me know. All right, next individual
Yes,
is going to be Mark Myers.
you go, go, go. You're good.
God bless, God bless.
Mr. Myers?
Defendants, yes.
Followed by Arena Nicholson. All right, do we have, was the state able to notify the victim in this case?
No, Your Honor, and so therefore we're going to be asking for a continuance to comply with Marcy's law. We've reached out to Marshall Myers through a couple different mediums, including text message, and have not heard back yet.
All right. Okay. All right, so we'll continue this case until Monday. I actually flagged this one as an OR, so I'm sure that'll be addressed first thing on Monday. All right. Next is Ariana Nicholson.
Your Honor, she refused to talk to us. If we could please continue this one day.
All right, so that one will be continued. How about Irvin Strickland?
I can't, I know, I can't verify them right now because we're up here. I don't have enough
All
time.
right,
to do-
stay ready to proceed with Mr. Strickland.
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, we're asking for $10,000 bail, pretrial supervision, no contact with 140 Chisholm Street. The defendant has criminal history going back to 2007, had a drug paraphernalia and reckless driving conviction, two separate cases in that year. DUIs in 2018 and 2019 convictions, domestic battery in 21, had a domestic battery arrest in 24. Looks like it was dismissed at prelim. The defendant, in the state's view, this has a lack of stability in the community. This seemed to have been a pretty senseless and pointless crime, while the defendant also, I won't belabor the point, but I understand the defendant said he was there to help a friend, but that doesn't seem to comply with what the other witnesses said, as far as he seems to be the one that was breaking the window and entering. So based upon lack of stability in the community, lengthy criminal history, we are asking for bail to be set. He's a risk to the community and risk not to comply. Thank you.
All right, we have a response.
Yes, Your Honor, I would be asking for an OR release today. He does reside at the CARES campus, and he also does have a social worker that works with him there. I was not able to get in contact with them this early. It's Sunday morning, so they just, they're not working right now. But he also did just get a job at Silver Legacy working in some engineering work. He would literally just be starting this job. He just literally did his drug test to confirm that he's not on any drugs to ensure that job. He has no objection to a no contact order with that apartment complex where the alleged incident occurred. This is not a crime of violence whatsoever. He has been in the area for about 13 years. He's been without a fixed address for 2 years, and unfortunately, he has been unemployed for some time. He was on food stamps for a while. He does have a great job opportunity, and what he would like to do is be able to get out to be able to work and then also be able to deal with these charges, because it does seem like there is going to be some restitution that needs to be paid back. And I think him being able to work to pay back that restitution as well as deal with this incident would be best for him as well as best for the alleged victim. So with that, Your Honor, I would be asking for an OR release with any other conditions this court feels are necessary, and I'll submit on that.
All right. So I believe some bail is appropriate in this case, given the circumstances. There'll be no contact with 140 Chisholm Street, Unit 2, and Ralph Wilson. His bail will be set at 5,000 or 500 cash. They'll be subject to testing, shall not possess firearms or weapons, and they'll have pretrial services supervision. All right, next individual is LaFonte Whaley.
Put it back.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, could you repeat that?
I think it's LaFont
Okay.
or LaFonte Whaley,
Thank you, Your Honor.
followed by Jonathan Palacio. All right, are we ready to proceed on Mr. Whaley?
Your Honor, we're going to be asking for continuance from Mr. Whaley. We have tried to reach out to Ms. Flores, and unfortunately have not been able to contact her. And so we would ask for one more day for Marcy's Law.
All right, I was gonna ask you if you were able to contact Isabel. All right, so Mr. Whaley will be continued one more day until tomorrow. All right, and then how about Jonathan Palacio?
Your Honor, he waived his appearance, but I am prepared to proceed.
Okay, stay ready to proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So regarding Mr. Palacios, we are asking for 7,500 bail, pretrial supervision, testing for alcohol and controlled substances. We're also asking for no contact with that 720 Lake Street address.
Right.
So I note that the probable cause sheet I received indicated that he had one count of possession of a controlled substance. Frankly, it appears based on what I reviewed that he had both meth in the excess of the amount of the 14 to 28. So in excess of 14, so it'd be the 14 to 28, and then
Right.
fentanyl. So that appears to be two charges, I believe a category C and a category E. And so that's why we're asking for the 7,500. In addition, so reviewing his criminal history, it said he had a failure to appear. I checked Reno Municipal Court. I couldn't find what that was about. However, it does look like he's got a couple older Clark County warrants that have been pending for quite some time. They look to be Clark County only warrants for misdemeanors for failure to appear. In 2023, he had a arrest for contempt in Sparks Municipal Court, had a felony arrest for violating probation, misdemeanor conviction for obtaining money under false pretenses, Sparks Municipal Court, felony arrest for failure to appear, felony conviction for possession of controlled substance here in the second. He has he has a gap in his history. He had a gross misdemeanor conviction for conspiracy to commit grand theft auto in 2015, misdemeanor conviction for possession of drug paraphernalia in Sparks Justice Court. And then he's got older history going back to 2004. So he has been in and around the system for quite some time. This is a little bit larger amount of controlled substances, and given his recent issues with failing to appear and failing to comply, as evidence from those arrests and convictions in 23, he's a risk to not appear. He's a risk to continue this conduct, and we believe that bail is appropriate.
All right, do we have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm going to be asking for an OR release in this case. Number one of the factors of Valdez Jimenez is likelihood of conviction. When you're looking at this case, it appears he was on a front porch that had a no trespassing sign. Officers saw him, and for whatever reason, they decided to do a pat-down search on him. I'm not sure why they did a pat-down search on him when he could have just been told to leave the property. When I see that, I don't think there was probable cause to actually pat down him, so I do think that's a big issue that the state has with this case. Secondly, when you're looking at the charges, right now, it's only one charge of PCS. Looking at the PC sheet, they have not confirmed whether the second bag, that's the white substance, was fentanyl or not. Nobody did any scientific testing or anything whatsoever on it. Right now, it's all just speculation. It even says here it may be filed pending results. So just based off of that, he's only looking at one charge right now. The state does not have the evidence that they need for the second charge. Looking at another factor, when you see his ties to the community, he's been in the Reno area for about 40 years. That's substantial ties to the community. His entire life is here in Reno. It's not somewhere else. He's also been unemployed for 2 years and he's on food stamps. So he's not an individual who's going to be able to afford any bail whatsoever right now. Looking at this charge, it's right now a simple drug charge for just the methamphetamine itself for 23.7 gross gram weight, meaning that also includes the packaging. So once that's weighed, it's going to come down even lower. So, Your Honor, with all of that, I think an OR release with drug and alcohol testing, as well as a stay away order from that location, is entirely appropriate here. And unless this court has any questions, I'll submit on that.
All right. Well, he does have an active misdemeanor warrant, which has been indicated in the file as well as the probable cause sheet. And it's an OR warrant, it looks like out of Reno Municipal Court. He was unsuccessful with pretrial in 2022. It's a fair amount of meth that they have found on him, and I agree with you, they haven't determined on whether it was fentanyl yet or not. But I am going to set his bail at $3,000 or 10% cash. No contact with 720 Lake Street. To be subject to testing, shall not possess firearms or weapons, and pretrial services supervision. All All right, I believe some bail is appropriate given his risk assessment and his failure to comply. All right. So I just need confirmation. Just get that file. Is Jasmine the only individual or defendant left in the courtroom?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's proceed with, is the state ready to proceed with, Jasmine?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, from what I understand, she hired Mr. John Arascata for her case, and from what she told us, he would be appearing virtually today. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what my brothers have told.
Okay.
He
All
knows.
right. You have Mr. Escada?
What?
Yeah. She did say she wants to retain. That's clear from the file that I reviewed. And then we also have a victim in this case. She is a Douglas County Sheriff Deputy. Was the state able to notify Mark Dickens?
Yes, Your Honor. And so if we're able to, I think we're ready to go forward if we're able to get Mr. Arascata present. We have talked to Mr. Dickens.
And what did Mr. Dickens tell you?
Mr. Dickens indicated that he does not want a no contact order, that he doesn't have a concern if she gets out. He has moved from the residence that ended the relationship and doesn't believe that she will come after him if released. He says the defendant has family support. He said he's never been a victim before, that everything was good until she, quote, lost it.
Right.
And he believes that she was suffering from a mental health breakdown. And then he indicated that her brothers came to the house and collected all of Miss Mendietta's firearms at the time he moved out, and he does not want to attend the bail hearing. And so that's what the state will relay, whether today or tomorrow if this gets continued.
All right. Well, given my review of this file and her information was verified, I'm willing to have the public defender proceed on this case. I flagged this case, given her background, and the fact that she used a wooden dowel. Looks like she did threaten him with a pistol. And you were able to confirm that all her weapons have been confiscated?
Yes, that was what the victim, Mr. Dickens, said, that they're in the possession of at least one of her. I'm not sure he has multiple brothers, but he said that he met with her brother, and I don't have a name on that, but that the brother took all the firearms. And I would note that Mr. Dickens also said the brother who took the firearms is also in law enforcement, so
Right,
I think that's somewhat reassuring.
right, I would agree. And he's moved away from 1250 East Lake Boulevard?
Yes, Mr. Dickens reported he's residing in a different location now. I don't have that information though, where that is.
Okay, well, yeah, I think he probably wants to he wants it confidential. So let me adjust my GRO here. All right, so this is kind of new territory for me since I do primarily civil. Does pretrial services, will they confiscate weapons? Can the defendant turn whatever weapon she has over to pretrial?
Your Honor, I have not, from what other judges have said, I have not known that to be the case because they're not law enforcement. I don't think they have a place to
Right.
store them. And so that has been a concern echoed by Judge Pearson, I know for one.
Right. That makes sense. All right, so. I'm gonna go through my conditions, then you can provide me with your comments, Mr. Murillo.
Okay.
OR release is appropriate in this case, no contact with Mark Dickens. Shall not possess firearms or weapons. To the extent Jasmine has any weapons, she must turn that into law enforcement within 24 hours. And that would likely be Douglas County Sheriff's Office. Shall not possess firearms or weapons, must reside at 1250 East Lake Boulevard and should be subject to pretrial supervision. So do you still reside at 1250 East Lake Boulevard, miss?
She does, Your Honor. She just confirmed that with me.
Okay. All right, so OR release, no contact with Mr. Dickens. Must turn in all weapons to law enforcement, Douglas County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours. Reside at that address and should be subject to pretrial supervision. Given a risk assessment is 2, it's an unfortunate event in this case. All right. Anything further, Ms. Morel?
No, Your Honor.
All right, how about from the state?
Your Honor, maybe we could make it a condition that she provide documentation of pretrial. Understand that they can't take them, but either a declaration from the brother or wherever they're being stored, just to follow up that in that way, given it's probably out of county where that would have to take place.
Okay,
So just have your brother contact Douglas County. They have. Oh, so Your Honor, she informed me that her captains actually collected all those weapons already.
well then but I think the state makes a good point. Based on what I understand, I have no doubt all the weapons have been confiscated, but I do need some kind of, I need confirmation from pretrial from the appropriate agencies and her brother, whoever has the weapons, that she's no longer in possession of those weapons and they have been turned in or forfeited. All right, I think that's a good idea, at least for the record. We'll know she doesn't have any weapons. All right. Otherwise, she's being OR'd, and Mr. Scott is representing you. He needs to file a notice of appearance right away. All right.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
And Your Honor, just one more thing. Oh, sorry, I was gonna ask for the date. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, the arraignment date is February 26th at 9 a.m. All right, good luck to you, miss.
Thank you.
There's nothing further, nobody else to see. You have a good weekend, what's left of it. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor, you too.